Controversial moment in Arsenal's goalless draw with Liverpool last night. Roy Keane and Gary Neville labelled Gabriel Martinelli's behaviour disgraceful after he appeared to push Conor Bradley off the pitch whilst the Liverpool fullback was injured. Then he dropped the ball on him as well. Martinelli was booked by the referee, Anthony Taylor. Dermot, I'll come to you first on this one. It wasn't anything any of us like to see. Under the laws of the game, though, should it have been punished more severely? He received that yellow.
Difficult to say, because what happens when he drops the ball, it's not wise, and then we have all this pushing and shoving. I think if the players leave it alone and Martinelli's left alone, it's easy for the referee to deal with Martinelli alone. Once the other players get involved, it ramps up everything on all the different players. So I think what Martinelli does gets diluted a little bit. And in many, many ways, they've actually helped him stay on the field, I think.
Well, that's just part of it, though, as well, isn't it? This sort of incident, Jay, from a player's perspective in particular, your teammates are going to get riled up.
I mean, let me tell you right now, if that was me on the floor, and he didn't drop the ball either, Martinelli didn't drop the ball, he went like that, and then he's like nudging him in his back with his knee, and then he's like pushing him off the pitch, and you know, Conor's obviously got a serious injury. I think everyone can see that. These are the kind of, I'm telling you, these are the kind of things that happen in a game, and we've seen it in the past, where if I'm Conor Bradley, as much as Martinelli's come out and he said sorry, I will not be forgetting that the next time I play against Martinelli.
In terms of the seriousness of his injury, though, watching that again there, when you see him go down, it's late on in a game as well. Is it obvious straight away that it's a serious injury? Because we now know that it was. He was stretchered off. But immediately, is it obvious?
I think that's irrelevant whether it's obvious or not. You don't act like that to another peer, for example. Yes, obviously they're trying to win the game. I understand that part. Everyone's anxious, you know, it's going back and forth. It's a high-tempo game. I understand that part. But you don't put your hands on anyone on the football pitch. One, he's thrown the ball at him. You don't do that either. You nudge him with your knee. You don't do that either. And it's not OK to just come out afterwards and say, I'm sorry. Because in that moment, he was trying to react. He didn't think he was wrong.
OK, we'll get to all of the subsequent things that happen later. But for now, let's actually listen to what Roy Keane had to say about it last night.
No, I didn't like it. Didn't like it at all. Happened to me once before when I was badly injured. A player stood over me. And, yeah, it's not good, because clearly we could see... Listen, we know football. We know players' reactions. We know he's a good lad. First of all, throwing the ball on him, standing over him. And if he's got a little knee in him here, if you watch it closely, he's trying to force him off. And I'm surprised the Liverpool players didn't go after Martinelli a bit more. I think Martinelli, that behaviour is absolute disgrace.
Listening to that, and given the provocation caused by the incident and the rest of the players getting involved, which Gary Neville also alluded to in commentary, could Martinelli be punished retrospectively for the incident, Dermot?
I think not, Hannah, because he's had a yellow card. He's had a yellow card for his actions. I still go back to what I say. If the players leave it to the referee's got a different landscape to deal with. But when they all pile in, he's got to check everybody else, and a lot of things get lost. But in that instant, I think Martinelli has made a very, very unwise decision.
Could it have been a red card?
No, I think there's not quite enough there.
But there was 3 kind of separate incidents in that one incident, really, because obviously he has thrown the ball at him.
He's dropped the ball on him.
No, he went like that. His hand's the opposite way around. Dropping it would be he's got his hand with his palm facing upwards. He's actually he's thrown it down.
Second one.
Then obviously he's nudging him with his knee, trying to get him off the pitch. That's another one. What was he doing that for? And then he's actually pushed him. He shoved him. So, like, to me, I'm looking at that and I'm saying there's kind of 3 separate incidents there that can be another yellow card.
Very, very rarely you see 2 yellow cards for 1 incident.
But you do see it. We have seen it. We see it the other day with Paquetá. That's the same incident still.
Not a very good example, because...
But it's the same incident.
Not a very good example, because Paquetá was told to back off 4 times.
Yeah.
And he still came back at the referee.
But I'm saying, nonetheless, it's still the same incidents.
For having to go at the referee when even his teammates told him to stop.
Yeah.
The last player that was sent off in the Premier League, believe it or not, for two incidents in one, was Martinelli at Wolves.
OK, but I'm saying to you, at the end of the day, that's 3 incidents in one where you could book him. If they were all separate on the pitch during a whole game, you could definitely book him for 2.
Yeah, I get that.
That's why I'm saying, and for me as well, as a player, I'm looking at that, and you know, like Gary Neville said there, and like Roy Keane. I mean, definitely Roy Keane. He's had that incident himself with Alfie Haaland. You know, you don't forget things like that because it's like, why are you putting your hands on someone? You know, Martinelli doesn't know if he's really injured or not, but ultimately, you don't need to put your hands on someone.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next, Jay, in terms of Martinelli has said that he has since apologised. He posted on social media saying, I didn't appreciate the seriousness of Conor Bradley's injury. I've apologised to him since we've spoken. As a player, would that be enough for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be like, yeah, thanks a lot, but like I said, the next time I play against you, that won't be forgotten.
Well, what's the deterrent? How do we stop this happening then, with that in mind, looking ahead to the next time these guys play, and more generally?
Be strong, be proactive, be on the front foot.
Arsenal's Gabriel Martinelli apologizes for disgraceful act towards injured Liverpool player Conor Bradley. Arsenal's Gabriel Martinelli has apologized for pushing an injured Conor Bradley during a 0-0 draw with Liverpool. Gary Neville and Roy Keane on Sky Sports both called Martinelli's act a disgrace. What's next? Bradley will undergo scans to determine the severity of his injury, though Liverpool fears the worst. Arsenal forward Gabriel Martinelli was branded disgraceful after trying to push injured Liverpool player Conor Bradley off the pitch near the end of their 0-0 Premier League draw. Bradley fell awkwardly near the touchline in stoppage time, and Martinelli clearly thought he was time-wasting, throwing the ball at him before manhandling him. Liverpool's players reacted angrily, and after the ensuing melee, Martinelli and Liverpool's Ibrahima Konate were booked. Northern Ireland fullback Bradley was eventually taken off the field on a stretcher in obvious distress. There are fears he has injured his ACL, with scans to come. Sky Sports pundit Gary Neville said Martinelli's actions had left him fuming. "You cannot do that. That is so poor. I think an apology is needed," the former Manchester United defender said. "Bradley is being stretchered off. I'm fuming with Martinelli, to be honest. Disgraceful. I'm surprised a Liverpool player hasn't gone over and whacked Martinelli there." Fellow pundit Roy Keane also criticized the Brazilian forward. "I didn't like it. It's happened to me when I was badly injured and a player stood over me, and it's not good. I'm surprised the Liverpool players didn't react to Martinelli more. I think that behavior is an absolute disgrace. Not good scenes," Keane said. Martinelli said on social media he had apologized to Bradley and was not aware of the extent of his injury at the time. Liverpool manager Arne Slot said he feared the worst for Bradley, although he was measured in his criticism of Martinelli. "I'm 100% sure that if he knew what the injury might be, he wouldn't do that," the Dutchman said. "But it doesn't look great if Bradley has the injury we think he has. You don't like to see a player being moved if he might have an injury." Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta said Martinelli would never have tried to move Bradley if he thought he was injured. "Probably he doesn't know because, knowing Gabby, there is zero intention," the Spaniard said. "I don't know what happened to Conor, but hopefully it's not bad, but obviously there is no intention from Gabby to do anything bad to him." Gabriel Martinelli sends message to Conor Bradley after disgraceful Arsenal versus Liverpool incident. The Arsenal winger says he has contacted the Liverpool fullback to offer his apologies. Arsenal winger Gabriel Martinelli says he has contacted Conor Bradley to apologize after his shove on the injured Liverpool star. With Liverpool fullback Bradley lying prone on the turf, having suffered what appears to be a serious knee injury in stoppage time on Thursday night, Arsenal substitute Gabriel Martinelli kicked the ball against the Northern Irishman and pushed him off the pitch. That enraged Liverpool players, who could clearly see that Bradley was seriously hurt, with Red Stars reacting angrily to Martinelli and Ibrahima Konate ending up yellow-carded. Sky Sports pundit Gary Neville hit out at Martinelli, calling him disgraceful and adding, "I'm fuming with Martinelli. I don't know how Liverpool players didn't go over to absolutely whack him, to be honest with you." Neville's former United teammate Roy Keane added, "I didn't like it at all. It happened to me when I was badly injured and a player stood over me, and it's not good. We know football. The player is a good lad. Throwing the ball at him, standing over him, and getting a little knee on him, He tries to force him off. That behavior is an absolute disgrace. He's a good boy to roll over himself. Hopefully Martinelli will have a look at it, and hopefully he'll apologize for it. Not good stuff, that. Martinelli took to Instagram after the goalless draw to issue an apology to Bradley, insisting he wasn't aware that he was seriously hurt. The Gunners winger wrote, "Conor and I have messaged and I've already apologized to him. I really didn't understand he was seriously injured in the heat of the moment. I want to say I'm deeply sorry for reacting, sending Conor all my best again for a quick recovery." Reds boss Arne Slot refused to be too critical of Martinelli, saying that he felt the Brazilian must have thought Bradley was time-wasting. "I don't know Gabriel Martinelli, but he comes across as a nice guy. I think the problem for him, and it's a problem in general in football, that there is so much time-wasting and players pretending that they're injured in the final parts of the game, that you can sometimes be annoyed if you want to score a goal that you think the player is time-wasting. I cannot ask Gabriel Martinelli in the 94th minute, when it's so emotional for him, to understand that he's playing Liverpool, a team when we played Leeds when a player was held but didn't go to the floor, or played West Ham United and my players tried to drag Paqueta out of a situation where he was getting a second yellow card. I'm 100% sure that if he knew what the injury might be, he wouldn't do that. But it doesn't look great if Bradley has the injury we think he has. Time-wasting, diving, I've seen it happen against us so many times this season that I can understand Martinelli might have thought that this was time-wasting. He couldn't have thought that this is Liverpool. They don't do this. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta, whose team holds a 6-point lead over Manchester City and Aston Villa at the top of the table, described Martinelli as an incredible, lovely guy. He echoed Slot's view that the winger probably didn't realize the extent of Bradley's problem. "I don't know what happened to Conor, but hopefully it's not bad, but obviously there is no intention from Gabby to do anything bad to him." Bradley's teammate Dominik Sobolzowski said the right back was in so much pain that he didn't want to come back on the pitch for time wasting, and that he couldn't even think where he rolled before Martinelli pushed him. "I understand you want to win, we want to win as well, but I think the health of a player is much more important than something else," Sobolzowski added. Neville, who was on co-commentary, was clearly angered by Martinelli's actions at the time of the incident. "You can't push him off the pitch. You cannot do that, you idiot. That's so poor. I'm surprised the Liverpool players haven't gone over and had a right pop at him, to be honest with you. I think an apology is needed. Honestly, I don't know how the Liverpool players didn't go over there and whack him, to be honest with you. Disgraceful." Neville later added, "I believe football players are all good lads. He obviously thinks he's trying to waste time at the end of the game, but I think you could see that was a bad one." Keane echoed Neville's comments after full time, describing the episode as a disgrace. "I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I'm surprised the Liverpool players didn't go after Martinelli a bit more, because that behavior was a disgrace. You don't know the injury the players got. It looks pretty bad, and you're trying to push him off the pitch? Not good stuff, that."